The best Roma team a 17-year-old called Simo has ever seen play. I've made it and I'm going to describe it to you. Now, if you're new here, I'm 17 years old. I'm almost 18 in September. So, doing an all-time Roma lineup, I could do it, but obviously the majority of those ancient players I've never seen play. So if we reach 100 likes in this video, I'm going to do a Roma all-time starting 11 consulting both my father and my grandfather. 100 likes and we'll do that. But today, this is the best lineup that I have seen in the space of 17 years since I came to Earth to today. Starting with the goalkeeper, it has to be the one and only Alisson Becker. To think that in one season, we had Szczesny and Alisson fight to start games was impressive. To think that we had both these two goalkeepers in one season and Alisson was the second goalkeeper is mind-blowing. Alisson is by far the best goalkeeper I've ever seen. He pulled those masterclass saves, which I'm still yet to find from Rui Patricio. I'm still yet to find from Robin Olsen a few years ago, from Pau Lopez a few years ago. We had to sell him because we are one of those teams which have to sacrifice big players. But if we've never sold Alisson Becker, we would have one of the best, if not the best goalkeeper in the world right now. It has to be there. He's won so many games. He was the goalkeeper of that 2018 Champions League campaign, which brought us to the semi-finals. He's won so many derbies. Alisson is just, without a doubt, it has to be him. Moving on to my four defenders. Now, my right back, I've gone with Maicon, a player which I am convinced if Mourinho had in his team, he would use even at the age of 66. Maicon was Rudi Garcia's pupil. It was literally his gem. He came to Rome. He won the treble with Inter. He came to Roma when he was an old guy. He was probably one of his last steps of his career. But despite the age, the way he ran on that wing, the way he scored, and the amount of contributions which he provided was sensational. You know, and the thing with Maicon, which is very hard to find these days, is fullbacks which are good are both attacking. He was sensational at attacking and defending. Now, we either have too many offensive fullbacks which don't care about defending, or the opposite. He was a perfect mix of the two. Very underrated player, won the treble with Inter, came with us towards the end of his career, and I'm convinced that if he would be available for Mourinho now, even at 17 years old, he would play. He was that good. And on to my left back, I've gone with Emerson Palmieri. Now, look, I could have gone with Kolarov. And Kolarov was good. He was good at free kicks. Probably the only thing he was good at since my arrival to Earth when he joined Roma. I actually remember Kolarov play because it was a lot of years ago. He was very good at set pieces, therefore launching corner kicks, taking corner kicks, taking penalties, taking free kicks. But he came at Roma when he was very old, and his age did not help. He was very injury prone, and then he had a little discussion with the fans, obviously, having an origin of having been a Lazio player and then coming to Roma. The tensions were already high when he came. I haven't chose Kolarov. I went with Emerson Palmieri. Now, if you look at Emerson Palmieri now, he's not the same player he was when he played at Roma. When he played at Roma, he was a young gem. And then obviously we had to sell him because we had to sacrifice big players. But when he came to us, he was an unknown player which Sabatini pulled from nowhere. And he was a very, very, very solid wing back. So I've gone with him. Now at Chelsea in recent years and at West Ham now, he's not amazing and I would not get him back. But what I've seen him do in a Roma kit was good. Two centre-backs, I have gone with Manolas and Chris Smalling. Smalling, we all know about. I mean, he is one of their biggest players right now. He's so vital. He's like that fixed point in that defence. So I don't need to describe Smalling to many people here because I described to you Smalling day in and day out. But Manolas was an exceptionally good defender. Look, and the main reason, despite the fact that he's a great defender and that he loves those tackles, he was very fast and he fulfilled all of the criteria of a great defender. The reason why he's in my list, the top reason of why he's in my list, is because of Manolas, the Greek god. Roma have risen from their ruins. That moment, it was in April. I believe it was the 10th of April 2018 at 22:22. 10:22 in the evening. Manolas nicked that in. I truly believe me when I say that when Manolas nicked that ball at the back of the net, I did not remember what my name was. It was like we entered a new universe, and that was by far one of the best, if not the best moments I've ever lived as a Roma fan. And yeah, I mean, he's an OG defender. He spent a lot of years in Rome. He knows this, and he has known. He started to understand the fans and the environment well. And I just think that Manolas in his prime with Smalling right now would be a catastrophe in defense. I mean, a good catastrophe. So that's my defense complete. My three midfielders, very, very simple. The three midfielders which started the game against Barcelona in 2018. Daniele De Rossi, Kevin Strootman, and the one and only Il Ninja, Raja Nainggolan. The reason why we won 3-0 that game was because of that midfield. That midfield was literally a wall. You had De Rossi with his leadership and his charisma. You had Nainggolan, which is my favourite player. Best player I've seen wear a Roma jersey. And again, I'm 17 years old. Obviously, the answer is Totti. But I was not here when Totti lived his peak moments. So the player I've fallen in love with the most, from when I started being a Roma fan to now, is Raja Nainggolan. And then Strootman, which very unlucky player. Before his ACL injury, he was scary. That's how good he was. After his ACL injury, he had a few physical and fitness problems, but he was always there, ready. You know, this trio of midfielders is the reason why we won 3-0 against Barcelona. It's the reason why in those years there was literally no competition between us and our cousins Lazio. They were so solid. I mean, let's speak individually. Daniele De Rossi doesn't need a description. You know who he was. Insane. Strootman, I've just said, aggression. But let me focus on Raja Nainggolan, because the guy was a literal criminal. But his prime years at Roma, nobody will ever change my opinion that in his peak years at Roma, he was top 5 midfielders in Europe at that time. He was at the levels of prime Kante in his prime. That's how good he was. The slide tackle. It's just, we miss these players. We miss these players which, when I mean would spit blood and just sacrifice their life for this team. I use this terminology a lot, but Nainggolan was that times 100. It's the aggression, it's the passion, it's the brutality, it's the courage. I mean, I could go on here for hours and hours speaking about Nainggolan, and you can see how passionate I am when I speak about him. I've got like 10 Roma jerseys with Nainggolan on the back. He is the player I fall in love with. He's the player which made me fall in love with this team even more than what my family has implanted in me. Yeah, I will forever love Nainggolan. And one of the reasons why I will forever love Nainggolan is because he had the balls to say, I don't want to come back to Roma. Now, some people may go, well, that isn't great. It is great. Because Nainggolan understands and has understood that he has ruined himself with alcohol and drugs. He is not the same player he was before. And he has publicly said, I don't want to come back to Roma because I don't want to ruin the reputation with the fans, the team, and the players. And that, to me, deserves a round of applause. What a player. That is my trio in the midfield. Then I'm going to play with a 1-2 in attack. The one has to be Totti. I've said it at the start. You know, I did not witness the peak years of Totti, the peak years of our Capitano, but I do remember a few little years. They were obviously his last years, but I've watched clips, I've been told, and he was just, his technique, his loyalty and everything. I mean, I mean, obviously, as a Roma fan, I will say the best Italian player to have ever lived on this planet, but that will be biased for people who don't support Roma. We can all agree, if you're a Roma fan, Juventus fan, Lazio fan, Milan fan, that he is definitely in the top 3 of best Italian players to have ever lived. If you're a little dirty rat, then let's expand it to top 5. But in my opinion, I mean, he was magic. He was the definition of football, the definition of, you know, love, the definition of touch, class. He's the Roger Federer of football. And yeah, I mean, one of my biggest regrets is not having witnessed peak Totti. But look, you've got footage out there. If any other kids, teenagers like me who did not fully witness his peak years, go watch footages. Go ask your family members, because the way they describe this guy is literally equivalent as a king. But yeah, again, just like Nangalan, I could be here speaking and writing a book about Totti, even if I didn't witness his best years. I obviously witnessed and remember I was at the stadium when Totti retired. Everybody was crying. I was crying. My father was crying. Every single person was crying, from those people who don't know anything about football like my sister to people who have grown up with Francesco Totti. So even though I missed out on his best years, the link up with Cassano, the link up with Montella, in 2001 when we won the league, he has to be there because he is the king of this city. And then up top, I'm going with Edin Dzeko and Mo Salah. What a link up they had. Edin Dzeko, he's the 3rd best striker all time, goal scorer all time in this team after Totti and Pruzzo. So look, fair play. I mean, Dzeko was one of those Walter Sabatini signings. Picked him from Man City when everybody kind of went, oh yeah, he's not the same player because his age doesn't help. He came at Roma and he smashed it. Then with Spalletti put next to him Mo Salah, the link up was incredible. I still can't believe a player like Mo Salah was in my team, and now he's one of the best players out there. But yeah, I mean, they scored a lot of goals combined. They provided a lot of contributions combined. And I think they deserve to be up there. They are definitely one of the best players, one of the many best players I've seen. But I had to choose 11, and this is my starting 11 of the best players I have seen in the space of 17 years play in Rome with my team. Now, my 2 super subs are Paulo Dybala, sensational world-class player, and Gervinho, my day one idol. Just like in Angolan, I have at least 3 Roma jerseys with a Gervinho on the back. I've fallen in love with that player. His sprints, he was just one of those underrated players which you love to see. So yeah, my 2 super subs are Paulo and Gervinho, and my manager has to be Jose because he brought the passion back to this city. He brought cohesion and unity between the players and the fans back to this team. He brought trophies back to this team, and he brought hope and success back to this team. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this was the best team that I've ever seen wear a Roma kit. Just to have a little recap, let me put some graphics on the screen. Quick recap is this. There we go. Alisson in goal. Maicon as my right back. Manolas as one of my 2 centre backs. And then next is Smalling, who is continuing to be a pillar of this team. Then we have Emerson Palmieri as my left back. And then moving on to the offensive sections, midfield and attack. There you have it. Daniele De Rossi as my defensive mid. Kevin Strootman as my box-to-box / holding mid. With him, obviously, my idol, Raja Nainggolan. I love you, Raja boy. And yeah, and the attack, Totti as the playmaker, and Mo Salah, the Egyptian god, and Il Cigno di Sarajevo, Edin Dzeko up front. 2 super subs, Paulo Dybala and Gervinho, and the manager is Jose Mourinho. Smash the like button, 100 likes, And consulting with my father and grandfather, I will build the Roma all-time squad, all-time starting 11. So do that if you want it. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your best team which you have seen with your eyes. So try excluding players which you didn't see, because that's another video. This is what you've seen, the best team you've seen. So yeah, interact down below. Very curious to read and respond to all of your comments, and I'll catch you very soon. Simo out.